All right, what is going on, guys?
It
It
is
is
Sunday,
Sunday, and
and
we're
we're
late on
late
the
on the
live
live
stream
stream
today.
today.
We're going to
We're going to
start at
start at
10
10
a.m.
a.m.
And
And
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
what do we
what do
do
we
in
do in
Warpath? There's
Warpath? There's
nothing
nothing
going
going
on
on
here.
here.
So
So
did
did
it
it
and
and
had some
had some
lunch,
lunch,
and
and
now
now
we're
we're
back.
back.
And
And
there's
there's
still
still
nothing to
nothing
do
to
in
do in
Warpath.
Warpath.
So we're
So
going
we're
to do
going to do
something
something
entirely
entirely
different.
different.
Hope you
Hope you
guys
guys
like
like
it.
it.
Hang
Hang
out,
out,
talk,
talk,
have a
have a
good
good
time.
time.
And
And
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna code because there ain't nothing going on in Warpath at all, and yeah. So if there was something to do, we would do that. I couldn't think of a single thing. There's no server wars, conquests, not a lot going on to look at there in Cairo. I've got an echo, by the way. That's very peculiar. I shouldn't have an echo. Hang on. Let me know. Never mind, all good now. Okay, yeah, I don't know why there would have been an echo. I only got one mic. Oh, I know why. Hang on. Hang on. Let me turn the desktop audio off. There we go. Okay, cool. Legacy, what's up? Crystal, hello, mate. I don't know why whenever I say mate, I gotta say it with a fake accent. Really terrible. You just started learning Python and data analysis using Python. Nice. That's awesome. I never really got into Python too much. I existed in the Microsoft .NET and C# world for most of my career. I did some C++, TypeScript, JavaScript, that kind of stuff. Basically application development. Never really got into Python, which is really popular with data analysis and also AI as well. Walker, how's it going? You have something going on? Well, we'll take a look. There's nothing really particularly going on. I think that would be too interesting. Conquest starts in a day or two, so then we will have a bunch of stuff happening, guys, for 30 days. So that'll be good. The King, how you doing? So I've been basically, you guys are actually seeing this for the first time. I don't even know if I really should be showing this because it's a little early. But I am building a financial planning and budgeting software to help. I think what it's going to do is, first off, I'm using this for myself. So there's not a lot going on the screen that you guys can see here. But I am using this for myself already. And we're going to build some stuff today. If there's stuff going on Warpath, we'll switch over and do that too. But I think this will help people who are bad at managing money and bad at budgeting. It will help them do those things. So anyway, let me check Discord real quick. There's a new Discord for server 56, as far as I understand. What is going on in server 56? I don't see really anything. So yeah. Legend Gaming, what's up? What is up? All right, let's add some stuff. So this would be kind of cool. So actually, it would be fun about this. Expense. Let's do like, some bills. Let's say my bills are like, let's do like internet. That'd be fun. $75 a month for internet. Bills. Once a month. All right, never ends. Got to pay for that internet. Always. And then let's go budget. Oh, it's broken now. Nice. You guys get to see all the broken stuff. Yeah. Oh, man. Get out of there. Income. I don't know what the heck broke, actually. Something's up. No, this is live. This is live. How to hack Warpath. Get out of here. Cheater. No, do not advocate cheating in any form or fashion. You can go pack sand, man. That's not cool. Play the game fairly or pay to win, but don't cheat. That's not very cool. That's not very cool. All right, we are actually going to nuke a whole bunch of junk that we do not need. Yeah, bye. Yeah, don't cheat, guys. That's not cool. That's not cool. Probably some kid doesn't know any better. That's okay. That's okay. Is what it is. Oh, actually, we need all that. The game is JS or Lua. Neither. Warpath is neither. Warpath is neither. Warpath is actually probably written in C# and uses a Lua scripting engine. And get rid of all this forecasting. A lot of stuff we don't need in here. Monthly forecast. I don't know if we need that actually. That used at. Oh yeah. We don't need all that. You can tell me law, but you can't comprehend anything with technology. Nice. Well, if I ever need something legal, I will reach out to you, man. We're deleting a bunch of code that I wrote. I had some dashboards in this app that we just really don't need. Have changed direction. Not going to do dashboards right now. We had some forecasting charts going on, and I don't think we need that right now. So we're just going to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. Get rid of all that complexity that we don't want at the moment. Get rid of a whole bunch of dead code. That should be gone too. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Make it full screen. Okay, sure. Sure. Let's make the chat stand out a little bit. There we go. Well, you guys can live without Zoom. That'll be fine. All right. We're just going to plug in some numbers real quick. Let's see. Person estimated monthly net. Oh, I remember what we're doing. Let's see. Yeah, so what we're going to basically do, though, is actually... we're basically going to get this back in a working state is what we're first going to do. And then we're going to enhance the UI to show some messaging when there's like no transactions present in the UI. And then we're going to maybe fix up this left-hand menu. These are hard-coded values on this left-hand side at the moment. So we'll fix those up. And yeah, this would be probably super boring for a lot of people. Can I make a code in game to send all resources to each other? No. I think we're going to get all the young people or people without technology wisdom asking us if we can hack the game and write scripts and do stuff. And the answer is absolutely no, we can't do those things. We can't do those things. All right, so we're going to add in So estimated monthly net income. All right, that's going to be a sum, right? Income sum. Expenses sum. Lots of basic aggregation. They're going to say net sum equals sum minus expense sum. All right. Nice. Okay. It shows what's wrong with Lilith and not banning cheaters forever. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Will you create an Android version of the app? So there won't be an app on the App Store for the first version, but I will probably do work on the app to make sure it has a responsive design so it works on the phone. So you just go to the website and it'll be a web app. So it'd probably work on both. Because actually, I could, I could probably make it an app on the App Store, but I would have to wrap it in, I forget the name of the technology, but there's a technology where you can basically wrap a web application into a desktop application shell for the purpose of creating an Android app. But there's this whole process I'd have to go through for publishing an Android app to the Android store. And I don't want to do all that for version 1. So probably just going to launch this as a web application, probably do responsive design so it works on the phone. We can show that maybe a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is like very early stages. I've been working on this as kind of forethought. Funny enough, guys, actually, let's see if it's back in a working state. Probably not. Oh yeah, there we go. So funny enough, this actually started out as I actually had this idea for building a analytics app for Warpath, is where this app actually kind of came from. And then shortly thereafter, like what I wanted to do was I wanted an app that alliance leaders in R4 could manage the roster, record scores, fighting machine, repute for every single conquest, but have an app that does it and make it really easy. And then Lilith came out and they're all, hey, we have this really rich analytic platform that we built. And when I saw it, I was like blown away by the amount of data that they have in that app. It was like, I forget the name of it, Warpath aphens.cc or something like that. There's an analytics site out there for Warpath. Maybe you guys, if someone has the link, post it in chat, actually. And so anyway, that killed my project because I'm like, there's no point in me spending a year, 2 years of my life building this analytic app for Warpath if Lilith basically just, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, built an app that does what I was wanting to do. It doesn't do everything I wanted to do. Like they don't do the alliance roster management and conquest scoring, but there's a lot of rich data in there. And so I was like, well, I'm done. Done. So then I got this, I've been really thinking about, you guys know who's following my live streams, been talking about like finances and stuff a lot, spending in Warpath. And then I got this idea. I have this spreadsheet where I manage my finances. And I was like, you know what? This sucks. I can't do everything I want to do, but hey, I do this for a living. So why not build an app that's even better? And so that's what I did. And so basically you can come in here and you can actually, well, that was my plan, was to build something and sell it to Lilith. That was my plan. But whoever built that, first off, somehow had to have been a developer because it has access to the Warpath APIs. And you can't just get access to the Warpath APIs. So that was interesting. I could figure out, like, I know what the Warpath APIs are, like how the game talks to Warpath and all that, but whoever built that had some insider knowledge on some stuff. So I wonder if they contracted it out. I don't know. I don't know much about who built it or how. Um, but yeah, it killed my plan. It's a really cool app. So anyway, yeah. So you could get, this is basically for people that like I would show all this built out. Like water, $35 a month for water bills. That happens once a month, right? So it's kind of a little tedious to add all these in here. But gas, right? $75, a month. Once you do it, you're not really adding too much in here. And then there's things like property taxes if you own a home. That's not a monthly thing, at least in the United States. That's really more of a annual thing. So you can actually say it's every 1 year, right? So you can kind of set this up. So there's some expenses. You can set up your income, paycheck, right? Maybe you make 1,500 bucks per paycheck. Maybe you make that every 2 weeks or something like that, right? There's your paycheck. And then there's your monthly average over time, as well as your annual. And this is assuming like net. So this is like after, right, your taxes and Social Security and Medicare and all that kind of stuff. It's like your take home pay. And then basically your budgeting then would be like, oh, okay, I have income and expenses. And this is obviously not calculating correctly at the moment because we got some weird thing going on here. So like yearly average for, oh, it's because our, oh yeah, property taxes once per year, once per month, once per month. I got something weird going on in here. I'll have to check the really bad math. I think it's because the monthly net income isn't correct actually in probably here. Actually, let's actually go make sure I did that right. Sometimes I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's not right. So income sum. Yeah, so actually that is a, oh, duh, duh, duh. We have to forecast it out is why. Yeah, totally messed that up. Don't trust my math skills, right? But anyway, so we'll fix this up. But yeah, it's gonna help people plan, budget, all that fun stuff. So let's actually go in and we actually need to do income, or sorry, transaction, income forecast. Forecast. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I remember how I wrote this because it's been a while since I've actually had to change this particular area of the income. What did we remove? It's a little weird actually doing this live. It's like my brain is mentally scattered and distracted with everything that is going on. I will give you to kill my SH for Atlanta. Hey, Gancho, how you doing? Oh, yeah. Estimated monthly income estimate. We're going to add all that back. We removed a little bit too much. That's what happened. And we need our monthly forecast back. That's why. Too much. Will there be options if you want to pay debt off faster like you did your house? So this is going to be a planning and forecasting application. Okay. So you guys probably remember like Intuit Mint. That was a really cool app. I used that for a long time. Those kinds of apps are what you would call a transaction tracking application, right? So they work by you adding all your accounts in, savings, checking, retirement accounts, and it actually connects to those live. And there's a all these providers out there in the world. There's one big one that does this, and that's how they can connect to all these financial institutions. And then it downloads your transactions from those services, okay? And then that's, Mint gets your transaction history, and then from that, it can categorize your transactions. It can kind of detect like groceries and bills and gas, and it does it kind of inaccurately though, because it has to go based off the transaction names, which are generally like credit card statement names and all that kind of stuff, right? And so that's how they work. But you have to do a lot of manual intervention to correct all that stuff. And then the problem with those apps, from my perspective, is that is a retrospective look into your finances. It's after the fact. Okay. It does track like your paychecks and things like that. And it stores that. It says, okay, here's your income, here's your expenses, but it's always retrospective, always after the fact. I wanted something that was forward thinking. Okay. So it's not a transaction tracking it. So to your question, will there be options if you want to pay off your debt faster like you did your house? This would help you do that because you're going to say, here's what I make. Here's everything that's a planned expense, right? Water, gas, electric, internet, phone bill, groceries, subscriptions, right? I know you all have Amazon Prime. I know you do. You all have probably Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus, right? All that kind of stuff. I know you do. So you put all that in, and let's actually put some of this back in. Hang on. We're gonna put some of this back in. Let's see. Get transactions by month. All right, yeah, because we removed way too much. Get transactions by month. There we go. Monthly forecast. I must have really... We got something really wonky in here. Estimated monthly net. Okay, let's kill that. You're just thinking because most people complete a goal if they see the goal every day. So okay, yeah, I think that's correct now. Yeah, so okay. So this is correct now. We got this back in a working state. Okay, so let's say I make $1,500 every paycheck after taxes. That's my take-home pay. Okay, so Social Security, Medicare, health insurance, state, federal tax, all withheld. Take home $1,500 every paycheck. I get paid every 2 weeks. Hopefully it never ends, right? So basically I've got $3,250 take home monthly on average. Okay, because there's some, we forecast this out for a year. We average it by 12 months because a lot of times there's 52 weeks in the year. You get an extra paycheck at the end of the year, depending on the pay schedule. And so your take home pay yearly average would be $39,000. Okay, so that's your money that you have to work with, right? That's even after contributions to retirement accounts and things like that. Okay, well, then you have expenses, right? Okay, well, shit costs money to live, right? This is the part that sucks. Yeah, own a home, you got property taxes. Maybe you don't own a home, you pay rent, right? Generally, you pay rent once a month. You pay your mortgage once a month. Whatever that is. I'm debt free. I don't have a mortgage or rent, but I do pay property taxes. Okay, and then all of your expenses. So we could add a whole bunch, but we won't bore everybody, with all that. And by the way, for all of you that play Warpath, right? Entertainment, Warpath, arms deal, $9.99. Once per month, right? All you spenders, right? Entertainment, Warpath. Let's say that was Covert Masons, right? Entertainment, once per month, $49.99, right? Okay, so you get the picture. So stuff costs money. So all of my bills, cost of living, monthly average $393, per month. My living expenses, the way we have this entered every year, would be, $4,720. Okay. And then, Warpath, you can start to see how Warpath eats into your way of life, right? That monthly average of those two things, 59, 98, is costing you $720 a year. So if you think about it, that $700, that's a car payment, that's a mortgage payment, that's a rent payment, just by having these two small little subscriptions in there. And then if you imagine things like, Warpath, legendary showroom costs like, let's just say 900 a month. Okay. That's every month that showroom happens. Okay. Now you can start to see how all this adds up, and people don't see this stuff, right? That's the problem I have with a program like Mint, is it's retrospective. Okay? It's after the fact. I want to plan what I'm spending in my future. So you get your income, your expenses, and then you have budgeting. So it's like income minus expenses. Here's what we have remaining for our budget. $1,896.69. Okay, that's what I have available to spend each month. Okay, now to your point, Todd, goals. Let's say I would like to purchase a car, right? Let's say that's going to cost me, maybe it's not a new car, but it's new to us, right? So then let's say that would be, I want to pay $5,000 for a new car. It's going to be once, right? So to do that with what I have left, I would have to save $416 a month, $5,000 a year, So if I spread it out over a 12-year period, basically, then I would have to save $416 a month. So yeah, I might add in some goal type stuff. So the budgeting, this is new. I've not really finished a whole lot of this yet. I just added the budgeting in here. So it kind of breaks it down to, okay, that's going to be, $416 a month on average. To do that, obviously, like if you have a goal, I want to save up $100,000. I want to save up $50,000, whatever. Then I think there's some other way that I would say, the budget is the how you would achieve the goal, right? So if my goal is $100,000, the how I achieve the goal is I want to budget for that. And let's say there's a different way I could think about that. Let's say my goal is $100,000, and maybe there's no target date on that. Maybe I just want to save $100,000. Doesn't matter if it takes 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Okay. But realistically, I can only do so much each month. That's the budgeting side of it, right? So budget, I know that a new car might cost me $5,000. If I do it that way, this is basically telling you, okay, new car costs you $5,000. Here's what you'd have to put away per month to get that for 1 year. They'd say $416 a month for a year. You will be able to afford a $5,000 car. Different way to do it would be to say, oh, well, I can save $500 a month out of what's remaining. Okay, so this is still what I have remaining money that I can work with. And so it says monthly average. I haven't done that work yet. But then like over here, you can see, okay, like income, what you earn, expenses, your cost of living, net income, what you have left, budget, money that you've planned to use, and then money left over saved. So version 1 of this will probably be something like income expense tracking, and then assets and budgeting will probably be premium features like $4.99 a month, and I'll probably put some goal stuff in there. And assets, these are going to be things like, hey, I own a home. Maybe it has $150,000 value, right? That's an asset. Okay, maybe I have a savings account, right? And maybe that has $50,000 in there. That's an asset. Okay, so I have $200,000 in assets. So that's kind of the idea behind an asset. Now, technically, a savings account or a brokerage account or a checking account could also somewhat be considered maybe not a checking account, but like let's say a high yield savings account or any kind of savings account with a interest rate or a brokerage account where you've got dividend income and returns. Those are more investments and not assets, right? Assets are things that can either appreciate or depreciate in value. So another type of asset would be, you know, I have a car and maybe that's worth $1,500, right? That's an asset. So there'll be also like an investments section in here, but it's all planning and forecasting, not retrospective tracking. That's kind of my philosophy with this application. It's kind of getting people's mindset to turn from how did I do, and reversing that mindset to I'm going to plan how I'm actually going to do, not how did I do, right? And obviously unexpected crap comes up too. Like, you know, it's like, oh, smokes, you know, we have a one-time surgery because I broke my leg or something. That's going to cost me $2,500 for, you know, a surgery, um, you know, medical, right? And then, you know, if it happened in the past, you know, let's just say that's already done with the action. I just want to put that on there. So it happened one time. Then, you know, past medical, right? There's a surgery that cost me $2,500 in the past, you know, back in December. And, but it doesn't cost me anything going forward because it already happened. So the monthly average and yearly average forecast about the next 12 months is, you know, basically nothing. That's a done deal. Does that help understand, Todd? Your question, Abraham, what's up? Did I make money? Do you make money with Warpath? The YouTube channel does generate a little bit of money each month based on views and ad watch time. It's very small though. I'm not sure. I'm supposed to share per the YouTube partner agreement, but it's basically a couple $100 a month that I make doing live streaming. I can make more if I also added in content creation. But yes, it does make a little bit of money every month. But yeah, I'm trying to keep the time that we spend doing Warpath down to a minimum of like, you know, 4 hours a week, maybe 8 hours a week. So if we do 4 2-hour live streams. So when we get to Conquest Cairo, which we still have a couple days to go, the live streams may be 2 hours long. They might go 4 hours long if I'm actually fighting and playing the game. You know, and during those will be good times for me for the YouTube channel because there'll be a lot more viewership. Like right now, the amount of views and things that we're getting on live streams for Warpath are much less because there's nothing happening in the game for anybody. Like nobody's playing Warpath right now. It's just all farming and boredom on Discord and things like that. So I would love for there to be something to do for you guys in Warpath. I really would, but there just isn't. But yes, you can make money doing live streaming and or content creation if you really work hard at it. You can, I would say there's probably some possibilities of making up to $1,000 a month doing content creation for Warpath if you're good. But you also need people to like your content to do that. That's the thing. So like, generally speaking, I think for the most part, people enjoy my live streams. I call them really our live streams, to be fair. When I was doing content creation, people did enjoy that. But I just don't have the time to do content creation. So I'm hoping to make, I hope the live streams are fun and trying to make those as engaging and awesome for everybody as possible. But I don't have time to sit down and edit video and script it out and come up with topics and the editing part especially. It takes a long time. There was one particular video I did. I always like to talk about it's the My Base is Better Than Yours video on YouTube. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to my channel. Right. And go videos. And let's sort this by popular. Yeah, there we go. My base is better than yours. 37,000 views. That's a lot of views for a Warpath video. That's a lot of views for a Warpath video. Hey, John, how you doing? You know, and I did this other one, Warpath officer placement and pairing matters, leader versus aide, but not for what the reason why you think. You know, 35,000 views. We had some other stuff we did back in the day. Me and my wife did Yu-Gi-Oh card content creation. And that was product review, what that one was. And then I had some really awesome, like this one, most savage combat drills comeback. That literally was really savage combat drills, to be honest. Like, it was pretty epic. I had a couple of these that were pretty epic. Destroying GST in the last 24 hours of Cairo, killing BLR with 9-2. These are good memories, actually. This one was fun. I added some fun pop effects on the bases. And this destroying bases the old-fashioned way video. Yeah, that was fun. I hate San Francisco. As much as there was so much toxicity on that video, people were like, oh, he's crying and whatever. It's like, I'm not crying. Like, I made that video for entertainment purposes. It had a dramatic, you know, tone to it for sure. But 11,000 views, right? So, you know, another one is the Martyr Howitzer good. But these are older videos now, 1 year old. In the newer video. So if I actually did content creation, I probably should throw in a video for you guys, maybe like once a week. Mix that in with the live streams. Maybe I would have to like cut down the number of live streams and then toss in a video. Maybe that would be a way to balance that out. But yeah, you know, this is content creation. Some of these, they were more scripted, you know, just raw topics. And then we had some Yu-Gi-Oh duels that me and my wife did. It was pretty cool. I'm surprised this one got a lot of views. Complete Warpath Guide to Alliance Territory. And I even edited the green screen back then. That was a lot of work to get the green screen out, set that up. I don't want to do that anymore. I could, but holy smokes, it's annoying. I have to store a green screen in my closet. It's ridiculous. And these were actually back when I literally had just like a folding card table back behind me with some lights that I set up. That's hilarious. So, yes, you can make money doing Warpath videos for sure. Does your app have a salary budgeting tool? Well, yeah, we just kind of talked about that actually. So, yeah. So, the way, Crystal, this is the way it works. So, income, I make $1,500. Like, this isn't my actual numbers, but like if I made a paycheck every 2 weeks, $1,500, my annual take-home pay would be $39,000. That's $3,250 per month. You get your expenses entered in there, right? It's all your bills, subscriptions, all that. So my cost of living is then $1,353.31. Okay. And then your budget is your net income minus your net expenses. That's what you have available to budget. So that's what this number up here is. It's what you have available to budget. And so if we said, okay, every month I want to set aside $500 every month to save up for a car that's going to cost me $5,000. Then in 1 year, I will save up $6,000. Okay. And you can just keep budgeting. So like if you want to set up a budget for dining out, and maybe I want $150 a week for dining out, right? So every 1 week, and I don't think I have some of these totals, but you can see that then per month at $150 per week, I'm using $650 of my remaining money available, which basically cuts down what I have left to 746, right? So you can keep adding budgets, and you could consider dining out an expense is a different way to do it. You can just add that under your expenses, or you can treat it as a budget. Depends on how you think about it, right? I could say I want a Warpath budget would be another thing I could do, right? So for discretionary spending, right? So we could even do Warpath, and let's say we categorize that as, let's just categorize it as Warpath actually, and let's just call this like arms deal, $9.99. There's so many different ways you could think about your money. But yeah, the tool is there. to I think the most important thing with this is like you basically your paychecks don't change very much, right? You get a raise maybe once a year, cost of living, inflation. Your expenses, they change, they go up usually to price increases and inflation, but they generally stay about the same. And so what I do is once per year in January is when I update all of this. Okay. So that's how I do it. And then I might update it periodically in between then if things change. Like for example, State Farm Insurance in the United States raised insurance prices like crazy high. Trash service quadrupled on us. It went from $30 every 3 months to like $110 every 3 months. So you update those periodically in here, but you have everything tracked, and then you can add one-time expenses. But then you have the budgeting, right? So the budgeting piece for me is really important because you want to plan. You want to plan a purpose for all of your money. That's really important. It's great just to let it go into a savings account, and maybe that's a purposeful plan. Like I'm going to set aside $500 a month to go into a savings account. That's fine, right? But that's planned. So you do always want some amount of money left over that's not planned. You want some percentage of that, but you don't want to be spending that on things like Warpath, right? You want to budget and plan where your money is going to go. So that's what I think this tool is really going to shine and help people do. I hope it's helpful for people. I am looking at I have a working version of it. It's rapidly coming together very quickly, and I'm getting to the point where I'm getting the itch to launch it. And I thought about launching it with just the income and expense tracking for free, and then just to get it out there and let people use that because that's useful too. Like most people have a spreadsheet where they manage their finances, right? This would replace that very easily. And then the budgeting piece will be a premium feature, probably like, I don't know, $4.99 a month. And maybe it'll be budgeting plus goals plus assets or something like that. But yeah, it'll have a whole bunch of different stuff. So yeah, it'll be pretty cool, I think. So yeah, what we're gonna do though is we're gonna go in here and we're going to let's nuke the budgeting side of it actually. So let's just delete all these. We're gonna kill these. So one thing we're gonna fix up real quick is there's nothing showing in here, right? It's just empty. That doesn't look very good. So we're gonna fix that real quick. Some uber simple HTML, CSS coding. This is using Kendo UI for jQuery and TypeScript are the technologies I picked. It's not using Angular. So we're gonna go, it is a single page application is how this is built. So we're gonna go to the transaction view model. Actually, where are we? Let's see, transaction group. I think this is the transaction group. And so we're gonna actually go in here. We're gonna say, visible as, let's see, we want to say has transactions. Actually, we're gonna do is empty, and then we're gonna do a message. You have no actions yet. Add one to get started. Just a friendly message. Abraham, good AM from 26. What do you think about 26? I don't like 26. I'm glad I moved on from server 26. 100%. One of the most toxic. Wow. It is one of the most toxic servers, I think, actually. I can say, guys, like honestly, since I've been to 56, 56 is not a toxic server. Like at all. I've not seen any toxicity yet, which is kind of crazy to think about. All right, so we're going to add a new property here, alphabetical order. Public is empty. Turns a Boolean. Oops. Boolean. All right, return this get. Actually, let's say let transaction equal this get. Actually, it's going to be categories. Oh, out of here, dude. Categories. And we're going to say turn categories length greater than or is 0. All right. Let's actually make sure that's working properly, actually. We don't have that in the right place. Let's see. Have I noticed that Loth brought an incomplete site gifts tab and did not show the full price for packs? Which site are you talking about? Because I've not looked, actually. It's been a bit since I've looked at packs and everything. They didn't bother optimizing. I mean, honestly, the web, any of the web applications for Loth is probably just like a afterthought, right? It's not their primary focus is building the game and not their web applications, more than likely. How long did it take me to learn web developing? My whole career. Software engineering is the kind of career you're going to be learning your entire career. Like, there's no way you really just can be an expert, right? That's something I've learned. I've been doing this for nearly, well, I started programming when I was 14, 13 or 14. Got my first job doing this when I was 18. And I've been doing it ever since. So I've almost 2 decades, actually, if you guys consider my non-professional experience. And even to this day, still learning. But I don't just do web development though. I do full stack development, and my primary where I really shine is actually architecture and design of enterprise applications. So I can do web development, I can do desktop development, I can do web services, kind of anything, database development, the whole 9 yards. And in all those areas, I would say I'm pretty good. But when it comes to software design in all those different things, design patterns, architecture, good principles, clean code, that's really where I shine. I'm pretty good at what I do, but I've been doing it for a long time. But yeah, learning, the learning never stops. It never stops. It's just a forever thing. Let's actually make sure I'm looking at the right thing. This is not. I wonder if it's like cache or something. Let's see. Like what we always say, it works on my machine. No, I don't think I'm in the right template here. Let's see. Average transaction list. Maybe I'm blind. Oh, I know why. Because I am in the wrong place. That's just how it goes. Here we go. There we go. We're in the wrong place, guys. There we go. Okay, so we've got a message, but we need to make that conditional because we just don't want that to always like be there. Yeah, that looks really bad. And we'll style it and all that kind of stuff. Alex, what's up? How you doing, man? How you doing? I'm good. We're doing some of this because there's nothing to do in Warpath. All right, so now we've data bound that to a isEmpty TypeScript function. So now it's gone. If we delete our transaction, looks like that is still not working 100% right. So let's actually make sure we're calling that properly. And it's probably in the wrong place, actually, is what it is, because I am pretty dumb to that kind of stuff. So we want to go actually transaction view model, that transaction type, transaction view. Oh, that is in the right place, actually. Set that there. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good. Categories length is 0, isEmpty. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. All right, we are not, whatever reason. Wow, pretty cool. In the line of studying, I'm required to learn a bit of web developing and other stuff like that. Learned margins and padding and etc. Yeah, it's a good basic skill to have, actually. One way or the other. even if you don't ever actually really use it, it's just a good skill to have. Oh. Oh, duh. Duh, duh, duh. Having lots of duh moments, guys. All right, so actually it's going to be data source. Categories. Data source. View. There we go. That's what we want. There we go. Okay, now we're back in action. Any good advice? What's your primary job responsibility? Like, why are you having to learn a little bit of web development as a secondary skill set? I guess I would ask that question to you first. I would ask that first. Just sitting on your bed, thought you'd pass by, say, "Oh, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that." It must be late. Like, I don't know. For me, I got to be doing something. My bedroom's like empty though. We don't have TV or nothing in there. So for me, sitting on my bed is like brain dead. I'd be like playing chess on my phone or something like that. But I'm really glad that you stopped by to say hello, though. That was really nice of you. All right, so we are looking for. I had some styling in here. Let's see, transaction footer, required actions. I have to style this again. I think I might have removed the styling for this. So we're going to call this like the app transaction list. And then we'll call this, we have a header, we have a body, the body. That's the transaction list, and the body transaction amount. Oh, that's a table up in the headers with that. Categories, app widget footer. Why do I feel like action group? An app widget section. I feel like we're missing something. Let's do app. There we go. There we get some little padding. That's spaced a little bit nicely. What we really kind of want to do probably is center that, but that's okay for now. You're trying to become an electrical engineer and you're supposed to learn Web Dev 1 and Computer Technology 1. I don't know why you'd ever need that for electrical engineering, but that's interesting. That seems like a complete, like, those are two very different things. Like web development and electrical engineering, like, they're not really, okay, sure, they share science as a foundation in general, but that's weird. Unless they just want, I don't know. What's the reasoning for that? I guess that sounds weird to me. All right. And then, so we're going to actually center this bad boy. There we go. So if there's no transactions added, we just add a friendly message basically. And I feel like the one I had there before was actually much nicer. Let's see. Basically trying to find out where I removed the old style for it was in transaction.html. There we go, transaction. Oh, your school system. 2,800 points, and guess they added those two. Oh, I see. You're in school. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, getting credits and stuff. I mean, I like anything in life, right? Keep at it. Take it seriously. Don't give up. I mean, I don't know if there's really any particular generalized advice I can give you that would really help you out. I mean, web development, what you're learning, where it's like basic web development, it's not really web application development. You're learning how to build web pages with content. The first class I had of that was back in like 6th grade, middle school, I think. And back then, that was like animations and all this other stuff was really popular. It's very different nowadays, but yeah, just keep at it, man. Let's say, I know that's cliche to say that. But that's with everything in life. Ah, there we go. Okay, so. Okay, so that's the old message. I must not have had any styling at all, which is fine. So, okay, we're good. We're good. Get out of all that crap. All right, so we fixed up our message. So it's not just like empty. People being like, what it would look broken otherwise, basically. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is let's go and actually add a budget item back. We'll just say like $500. We'll say $500 monthly toward new car. Okay. And every month, $500. That's our budget item. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to actually build some plumbing because this is all hard coded right now. So like the income works, expenses works, assets works, budget works. So all of that works. But we want these numbers here to reflect that. Now, these are also modules in this application. So we have an income module, an expenses module, an assets module. This is I'm architecting this as a vertical application architecture, domain-driven design with a bounded context. So there's an income bounded context, an expenses bounded context, an assets bounded context, so on and so forth. They all share a base transactions module. But these are not hard. These are basically like not all these modules will be present. Like the free tier will have income and expenses, and then the premium tier will have assets and budget. And then we want to be able to get the modules from the back end based on what the end user has subscribed to and paid for. We don't have any of that implemented. And then we need the data associated with that. So we need the person's, like, if you can think about this whole thing as like the person, right? It's my portfolio. Then we need their net monthly income. We need their net monthly expenses. We need their asset values. And then we need the net budget monthly as well to get all. So we need all that data. And we're going to see if we have it to get. And so we have on our back end here, you can see we have this transaction module, and we've got this person class, we've got a transaction class, and the person is it's the aggregate root, and it aggregates transactions. And so on this person, we've got things like budgets, income, expenses, assets, investments, transactions, estimated monthly income, estimated monthly expenses, estimated monthly net. We don't have one for budget yet. Probably should add one for budget, is what I'm thinking, because then we're going to be able to, we're going to have to basically get all that. And then assets are really easy because assets are just the sum of all the asset values. Those are pretty easy to do. And then that's just the domain layer. And then we still need like the web application layer because we have to actually go get that data over HTTP. Okay, so that's going to basically come up here in our backend API. And so that's going to look like something different. We can get transactions. We can do batch operations. We can post transactions, categories. We can get lists. And so we have something different. And that might look something like there's get me. API me. Hey, me. Get transactions. So we have to build something. So we're going to do, yeah, I don't even know what that looks like, actually. What does that even look like? Like, you can't just code stuff. So actually, if there's one piece of advice I could give John, it would be think a lot about what you're doing before you try and code it. Like, don't try and figure it out as you're coding it. Would be pretty really sound advice. So like in my actual job, we spend a lot of time doing upfront design and R&D before we code. And then there is a phase of prototyping that happens. Like this is a lot of prototyping as we go. But then you want to take that final prototype code and turn it into something really polished. You don't just want to figure it out as you go, I would say. So that would be my advice. And this is basically for the menu system that we need to do this. So we have like this enumeration of modules, and then our front-end view model class, we actually have app view model. So here's where all those are actually, so that's where they're hard-coded currently. So we actually need data here. We need some kind of like data source to get modules from HTTP. So that's what that's going to look like. Which also means that we kind of need to get like, somehow, that's interesting. Like we want to get a list of modules from the back end configured based on what the customer's paying for. But we don't want to store like front end presentation details in the database. But we need the data associated with each one of them. So it's almost kind of like this hybrid approach to say, the front end needs to know what potential modules there are, but then the data associated with those modules needs to be obtained from the back end. So that's going to be pretty straightforward, I think. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to go up here to this me endpoint. Is a perfect place for that. And right now, let's just create an anonymous type. We're going to just call this data. We actually need to borrow some code, which we'll refactor later, actually, to get the current logged in user by their email. They're already authenticated by this point and authorized in the backend API. And then we are going to, once we have that, now we have access to a bunch of stuff like estimated monthly. So we're going to say var data equals new anonymous type. And we're going to say net monthly income. Is that correct? I think we had estimated monthly net. Estimated monthly not net. Monthly expenses. And then we want the budget, which we don't have yet. So it would be monthly budgeted, monthly budget. And that we don't have. So we can hash it out real quick because it's basically just going to be a sum of the monthly average is what that's going to be. And so this little me endpoint is going to return that. And I think there's a place in the app where we actually do call that. but we would have to find out where. So actually, we're going to open up the network profiler and refresh. And we're going to see network me. So there's the me details. It doesn't look like it's been hot reloaded yet. Reload that. Do that again. Oh, doy. Let's see. And actually, that might be our auth service that's being called. We might not actually be calling this endpoint at all yet. Yeah, we're not calling this endpoint at all yet. Actually, if we were to, this might bork up the live stream. Oh, yeah, that'll bork up the live stream. We're not going to do that. Okay, so let's wire that up. Okay. Where are we going here? Okay, so we need to add a new API. So we're going to actually say export interface me payload. And this will be estimated. Basically, we're creating a DTO. Oh, I can't type today. Monthly income. Monthly expenses. Net monthly income. Monthly budget will also be a number. There we go. Okay, so that's our DTO, data transfer object. And then somewhere in here, we have a me endpoint. So we have me, and get rid of this forecasting crap. But we're going to say public async me. Could not require any details to do. Return await. Oh, and this is going to return a promise of me payload. We're going to fetch it. We're going to fetch a me payload from API me. Method get. Okay, so that's our API endpoint. For some reason, you're not getting any output out of the CSS. So CSS is it's a styling language. It's a styling syntax. So it doesn't really have an output. So HTML is the markup syntax that defines the layout and structure and the elements of your page. And then CSS is how you're going to style it. So you can think of it like CSS is the paint job, the color of your floors, the style of your floors. And you can think of the HTML literally as the floor, the walls, right? Structural versus style. And normally if your CSS is not working, it means that the CSS selector, okay, so like I'm using SCSS, whole different than what you're doing, but like this looks close enough. So like we have a CSS class, app nav button info, that will style an HTML element that has the class app dash nav button dash info, and it will apply this style to that element. So normally if you're not getting that working, either you have the class name, the CSS class defined on the HTML element incorrect, or your CSS selector. When I say selector, that's what this is here. This is a selector. This is how it identifies that, what in the HTML to style. That could be wrong. So if we have app nav button info, for example, I have an HTML element here, div class equals app nav button info. Okay, so if that's all correct, then the other issue is if you're writing your styling, you wrote the CSS and the HTML plus CSS couldn't get anything, only works in HTML. if you have your CSS in a CSS file, you need to make sure that that CSS file is included in your web page through a link element for it to be loaded. And then you can actually use the browser tools. So like you can go into Edge here, F12, get the developer tools, and like in the network tab here, you can actually click on the CSS in the toolbar and you can validate that your style sheet's actually getting loaded correctly. Okay. And so that's like step one. Like you need to have your CSS file. It needs to be loaded by the web page that's using it correctly. It'll show here status 200. 200 means 200 okay. That's an HTTP response. And if that's good, then it's going to boil back down to syntax in either your HTML or your CSS style sheet, right? And little subtle things, make sure you got the dot selector on there. If it's a class, if you are creating a ID selector, make sure you have the hashtag on there, and then make sure that all matches up in your CSS and HTML, right? So high level advice, high level. Another useful thing you can do too, like I'm building, this is an app, so the code base is pretty big, but there are tools like JS, see, I don't know if JS Fiddle, wow, I didn't type that correct, JS Fiddle. Where's JS Fiddle, right? Code Playground. You can use tools like this to test your HTML and CSS to make sure you're writing it correctly without having to like put it in a web page. And so you can use a tool like that. You can say like, you know, okay, div class equals, you know, let's say my class, right? And let's say hello world, put a span tag in there, hello world, right? Wow, syntax highlighting, annoying. All right, and then for our CSS, the syntax for that would be dot my class. It is case sensitive, by the way, as well. Keep that in mind. And then we can say like color blue, right? And run that. And so you can see that that is styled my hello world text in blue. We could also say like, let's make the font size larger. That's cool. Does it in real time. Nice. That's pretty neat. But yeah, it's class equals the name of your class, no dot when you're doing it that over here in the HTML, and then dot my class over here. The other way is you could make it a ID, right? ID my class, but that would be hashtag my class. Okay, that's an identifier. And when you have an identifier, there can only be one of those on the page at a given time. It must be unique because like this is the ID of this thing. It identifies that unique thing. Okay, classes are reusable, right? I can have many things with the same class. That's the point of classes. Now you can see how I have that wrong. I have the hashtag over here. It's not applying the style. If I do the dot selection for the class, now you can see everything's being styled. Not supposed to add an asterisk. Well, it all depends on what you're trying to do, right? An asterisk is an all selector. It means all elements of any type. That's what that means. So the thing with so here's some advice. The thing with programming is every little character you type, some of them have meaning, some of them don't. The ones that have meaning, they're very specific. So you have to really understand, what does the asterisk mean? What does it do? Well, in CSS, it means select all elements of any type. That's what it means. So if I was to say my class, like let's actually do div. Actually, let's just do asterisk here, right? So select any element of any type. So it doesn't matter what it is. You can see it styled it. Right. I can do div asterisk, and you can still see that's blue because span would qualify as any element. Okay. I could also do div span, right? Or I could be, and so any span within the div, I can also say any span directly in the div, right? With an angle bracket. There's lots of things you can do, but you have to be very specific about it. It's generally using the all selector is not very common. Normally what you're going to do is you're going to say like this div is a my class, and you're going to target the class. Like that's normally what you would do in web development. But you can do it lots of ways. You can also style things inline, which is totally fine, but it's less common if you want reusability. So you could actually even say style equals color red. Do that. And you can see the red is taking precedence over the blue because inline styles always take precedence over CSS styles. Right. Well, it's all CSS. This is CSS here, but inline versus external style sheets, I would say. Okay. So yeah, you got to be very specific about it. So there's a little very quick rudimentary brain dump of some CSS knowledge. And in the process here, totally forgot what we were doing, which is fine. Crypto, what's up? Hey, did you ever try to use script in Warpath? No, that's cheating, dude. I do not advocate cheating. No scripting, no messing with the game, nothing. Nada. I don't do that. Nope. We're just coding. I'm just doing this on live stream because there's nothing to do in Warpath, right? Warpath is boring right now. We still have 1 to 2 days to go before Conquest starts. So we are right now exploring with, I remember what we were doing. We added a API to our API client, and we need to actually call that to get some data is what we needed. And so what we're going to do is, let's actually say, let's see, let's bind a net to this knit. We're going to say public on knit. Doesn't return anything. Let's make sure that gets called first off. I don't think that's the right. Oh, gotta do it up here. Oops. No. Why is our event not working? Why is our event not working? Yeah, it should be a callback. Find event name, knit, base view model. The only downside of web development is debugging. Absolute pain in the rear. Does your app have a dark mode? No. Although it would be very easy to make one, though. Actually, I've got all the color variables for the Sass styling extracted out. So it'd be a matter of just plugging in different Sass style sheets. And I think we could even swap those styles out through JavaScript. There's some really cool UI design with dark mode that could be done, actually. That's an interesting thought. I obviously I prefer dark mode for, well, just about everything. All right, so we're going to say let response equals, and this needs to be sync await. Any, probably just return a promise with no responses, and then you have the API in here. So API.me, me. That's what we're getting. All right, let's make sure we get our response in there after that runs. It may not. I like that reloaded. This on promise any. Why don't I feel like that fired off? Let's go check our. Why do we have an error in here? Generate undefined properties of me. What? Why is that the case? Because API is not defined. Why is API not defined? Down the rabbit trail we go. Probably don't have an API client in here. Actually, at this level, we have an auth client is new. Where is our API client? Let's go track that down. We gotta go track down where our API client gets created. So somewhere in here, we have an auth client. API. Do we have to create one? Maybe. Go check some of our other view models, like home view model. Oh, right. App. We need the app. We are in the app. That app API, while we're in the app. So it's probably being called before we, yeah, there we go, before the token is set, actually. So let's say on that token, where's set token called? Probably way up here. Yeah, set token, set current user, set token. Okay, so let's go. We're going to do this differently. This bind change, this on change. Change any if e field token. Make sure we get in there. There we are. And so we should have a node debug console. We should have a this API is still undefined, actually. Oh, we want API. That's what we want. API. What's my top 2 coding languages? C# and SQL, probably, are the 2 I most use. And then JavaScript and TypeScript would be probably after those 2. But C# would be number 1. SQL, definitely number 2. Lots of database work. And yeah, JavaScript and TypeScript for front end. For sure. This app here is a breath of fresh air to work on compared to work, because in the real world, we all get the luxury working with a lot of legacy stuff, right? Legacy is the way of the land. The particular enterprise application that I am the engineering leader for has a lot of legacy tech. We have a lot of new tech as well. We've been building a lot of new tech over the last 10 years of my career, but a lot of legacy tech. But I don't work in legacy tech as much. I have other developers on the team that I direct, and they work on those pieces. I mainly only work in the newer stuff, but it's not as new as I would like it to be in some cases. But yeah, C# would be number 1 for sure. Okay, so now we're going to say let response equals this API me. All right, debugger. Make sure we get our response from the back end. Okay, so now we're on the back end, right? And so there's our data. So now we can see monthly budget, $500, monthly expenses, minus $1,353.31, monthly income, $3,250, and net monthly income. So that's income minus expenses, $1,896. It's not including the budget. So we have all of our data though. So that's done. And so now back on the front end that the API is done, we should have a response, which is still, it's pending. So actually that's be, wait. All right, we have to rerun that. There we go. And so there's our transmission of data from the back end to the front end, monthly budget and all our data. So now what we can do is we can actually say like this set, we're gonna have to put this somewhere. So we're gonna put it somewhere very temporary, just so we can refactor it later. So we're gonna say this set me equals response. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm going to take this. We're going to say this set modules is equal to this. We're moving it. And now we can do response. And this one was going to be monthly income. Monthly expenses. This one's going to be assets. I don't think we did the asset piece yet, so we'll leave that. So let's just put assets at 0 for now. We know that's not done. And then this last one is going to be budget. Let's save that. Okay. And there we go. So now we have our 3.3K monthly or 1.4K monthly, $0 in assets, and a $500 monthly budget. Yeah. So, and guys, I don't know if this would be interesting to anybody, but I actually have a software engineering YouTube channel that I don't do anything with. It's got 10,000 subscribers. I've done some content recently. It is DX7 Dev. But I had this wild hair because somebody made a comment in the other live stream that I should talk about finances. And I was like, that other YouTube channel I have is I'm having trouble. Like I did some content. It's actually really difficult to get views on that information. It's a lot of effort to produce that content. So I had this wild hair to try this on this channel, which is interesting. You know, who knew there'd be so many people interested in this, but I don't know why I brought that up. Yeah. Oh, because coding ASMR. Yeah, because people love that stuff. So maybe I should do live streaming on that channel, like coding ASMR, and try that. I haven't tried that on that channel. I haven't tried that. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. But it's such an out-of-date channel, though. I don't have the following on that, I think, is the problem. And to be fair, if I was going to build a channel, I've got DX7 Gaming, I've got DX7 Dev. I would prefer just to have one channel for everything, just DX7 as the brand. But I don't know if that really could work or not, because YouTube really loves topic channels. It is pretty tough. But anyway, let's also go in here and we're going to add to our data. Let's do total net assets. I'm going to say this is the sum of the value of the assets. So it's just the sum of the amount, basically. I'll reload that. And there we need to go back into our API client. We're going to say net assets number, right? And in our app view model, now we can say response net assets and make sure that works. And yeah, so now we can see our $201,500 in value for our assets. So this is live now, which is really good, which also means that we can bind this data here, this chart, to the same thing. That's going to be a little tricky. Chart data is up here, so we're going to move this into here. Make this a little bigger so we can actually see. Because I'm blind, says the blind man. And we basically need the same values, actually, so that's going to be pretty simple. So monthly income, monthly expenses, monthly budget. I think I messed something up. Did we do monthly net, monthly income, monthly expenses? Oh, once. Net monthly. That's what we missed on that. And then this 137 is basically the remainder that you would have left over. So it's going to be, we want this to be done on the back end. We don't want the front end to be doing logic. We're going to say net surplus is, I'm going to do this just to make it easy real quick. Oh, that's a read only. Never mind. Monthly net minus, we'll have to make a budget net, but that would be the surplus. And then response monthly surplus, what we're going to call that actually. Net surplus, I guess. Nah, let's call it monthly surplus. All right, is that right? Monthly surplus. Oh, and then we got to add that to the TypeScript definition for the DTO. Holy moly. Bubble data point. What's going on there? We just need a number. And we also have to reload the chart, apparently. So let's actually do... Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, wait. That's probably going to fail. Something wrong with our data binding there. That looks fine-ish. Not any errors. Make sure we're not being stupid here. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. It does not like that. Fancy that. Does not like the observable objects. I forgot about that. We're using the charts.js open source JavaScript library for the charts, and then have tied that into a custom widget for the Kendo UI. So I've made use their custom widget framework to wrap a chart.js chart. And anytime you do custom widgets like that, there's always some challenges in interoperability between frameworks. This is as fun as Hegemon. Well, I'm glad, because maybe we just turn this into a programming channel, or like I said, just DX7. We do gaming, programming, anything, whatever. I most certainly do lots of this. It's a little harder to do live though, because normally I'm not talking so much and I have my thoughts myself, but it's all good fun though. What's up, Black? All right, so we need to basically we need to notify our widget of the change to the data is what we need to do. That's what we need. And might be a way we could do it to say this trigger change field forecast. There we go. Okay, there we go. So we have a working chart now. So you can see, a little hard for you guys to see probably, but you hover over that, you can see income, what you earn, expenses, your cost of living, net income, what you have left, budget, money you plan to use, and then I don't see the surplus on there for some reason. Where's our surplus? The surplus, well, there should be a surplus. Let's make sure there's a surplus. Maybe I did the arithmetic wrong. No, monthly surplus, undefined. Monthly surplus. Why is that undefined? Hmm. Wait, hot reload? Oh, there we go. We just needed to hot reload the API backend. So you can see now we have the monthly surplus, money left over and saved, right? So it's basically your unplanned dollars at the end of the day. So kind of a cool little thing. Mr. Baruku, what's up? Is this a finance related site? This is a financial planning application I'm building that I plan to launch hopefully 6 months, year, is what I'm hoping. I have a working version. You can go earlier in the live stream, see a bunch of stuff. We actually coded. It's funny. In how long have we been live streaming now? Hour and 38 minutes of just me blabbing and kind of haphazardly coding. We did a couple things. You know, we implemented some visual display. We wired up these numbers to the actual data, and we got the chart working on actual data. Those were all hard-coded things. So now everything in this app is actually live information now. There's no hard-coded anything. So that's a great place to be. And of course, the boring part, which I don't find boring, is I would go refactor and clean up and style and sort out all the code, make it really clean. I've rapidly developed this app because I wanted to use this app for myself first and foremost to get rid of my insane spreadsheet that I have. And so I've been rapidly developing this, but this is due for a large refactoring to clean everything up. It's well structured. There's just some messy code. I'm a huge, I'm really anal about clean code. That is super important. So like, just to show you guys an example, like everything's documented. The code is really neatly formatted. Because at some point, somebody's got to come into this crap and read it, you know. But some of this code that's been rapidly developed, like a lot of this forecasting, like that's all got to get refactored into something better. This person domain entity is also way too big. Although its aggregation is fine, I suppose, but it's a pretty big domain entity. But yeah, clean code is super important for sure. Good architecture. And I need to break this transaction module down into separate vertical modules. So we have like a budget module. We have a budget and a budget list for some of that logic. That all need, there's just so much. I'll do that on my own time though. Like maybe that'll be a true shut the mic, camera off, typing on the keyboard ASMR video. To be fair, it could be kind of cool. That could be kind of cool. All right, so since we got all that live and working, that is pretty neat. Will I make the code open source? No. So this will be a commercial product. I don't know. Let me not say no. This will be a commercial product. My property, my proprietary, right, asset. Sorry, word I'm looking for. Intellectual property. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. It's going to be a subscription. That'd be, like I said, that'd be free income expenses, premium, $4.99 a month, I think. Because I want it to be cheap. There might be other premium tiers later as I add a lot more features, but you know, this basically, you guys are looking at V1. I'm not sure if I can open source that. I love open source. I like open source. I would love to actually, I would love to open source it actually and use it as a case study. And maybe, like I said, my YouTube channel, to talk about just software design, architecture, and all that. I have really deep knowledge now where I didn't back in the past. Things like domain-driven design, clean architecture, but yeah, my main concern is what Mr. Baruku just said. is, yeah, if I made this open source, then people could fork the repo, take the code, and build their own from what I've spent countless of my own hours building this intellectual property. So I'm not sure I would do that in that case. Um, because then I think someone could take it and make a competing product very easily. Um, so yeah, I probably not, I would think, but that's an interesting idea. There are things I could open, like I have a lot of code I could open source that I've written over my lifetime. Frameworks, I've got a desktop application. Um, Probably could put a lot of that stuff open source. There's also libraries I could write even today that I could open source, to be fair. But yeah, probably not this. I don't think so. Because I'm looking to not really build my goal is not to build a company. I don't want to run a company. I do want to make money. I'm doing that through investing, savings, passive income. This is also going to be part of that effort, but I want to help people. I think this can help people. And I don't know where I was going with it. But anyway, yeah, maybe not so much to open source. Yeah, it's going to be, well, okay, I know where I was going. It's going to be part of my financial future. I think. I think I have something here. I think I have something. So I find it useful anyway. And so far, the initial reaction that I've gotten from people that have seen it is that it looks to be a very useful tool in application. And there was something Elon Musk said in an interview one time that really caught my eye. And then my wife gave me some advice, which was kind of funny. Elon Musk said, everybody should do something to give back to the world. It doesn't have to be a rocket ship. It doesn't have to be a large corporation. It could be a tool. It could be a game. It could be something small. But if it's useful and it could give back to the world, then do it. And so that really resonated with me, that I always had these big ambitions and these big ideas, and I tried to just take on too much. And I quit doing that stuff, kind of got settled into my career. And then my wife, it was like a year ago or something, we talk about this kind of stuff from time to time. She's like, why don't you just start small and have something that you can call your own little slice of the world, like your own little corner of the world. And that resonated with me. It's like, you know what? Yeah, why I could do something small but extremely useful. It doesn't have to be huge, and get that out there. And so that's what I think this is at this point. Like I thought that when I did the YouTube channel for Warpath, like that was just to help fund my Warpath account. And I enjoyed doing it. I enjoy talking with all you guys and hanging out and having a good time. But I've never built a YouTube channel that's got like oodles of views. A software channel I did, I think I had one video that got like 400,000 views or something like that. That was a long time ago, when the design pattern that I covered at the time was, um, relevant. And so this, I think I have something. It's motivating to see from how it's possible to get to discussing coding without going to college. Yeah, you don't need to go to college, but I mean, if you think about what life was like for me from 14 years old, I spent most of my time, even in school, in the computer lab, whether it was during break, during lunch. When I didn't have class, I would be in the library writing code on a computer. I would also do that at home. I obviously played lots of video games, like that was a big part of my life, but I also learned programming. And when I got old enough to work, my senior year of high school, I think I shared this story on another live stream. I had already been programming so much that I caught the eye of a software engineer, and they offered me a job. It was a company in California doing restaurant software, and I got the job. I worked for, like, I don't know, it was like 8 weeks during the summer, something like that. Made really good money, and then they laid a bunch of people off, and that was back in 2008. during that recession. They laid a bunch of people off, including the guy that got me the job. He got laid off, and he was in Irvine, California. And I remember over the next 6 months, him sharing with me, he was like really worried because his savings account was just drying up. And then finally, he got his dream job at Blizzard Entertainment, believe it or not. I won't share his name, just out of respect for his privacy. But the guy that got me my first job in software engineering is a principal software engineer now at Blizzard Entertainment, which is really cool. I know the application that he works on. But that's a fun story. But when I was in my early 20s, I always coded as a hobby, but I then wanted to start a business. I wanted to build a work item tracking system for software developers. And I was putting in 60, 80 hours a week sometimes. I didn't sleep very much. I got some contract work. I did software for some businesses in our town. I did a touchscreen system for a memorial down at our Riverwalk. That was pretty cool. So Medal of Honor recipients, veterans. It's a database. You get pictures. There's pictures and biographies of those military persons. And then that all dried up. I worked customer service for DirecTV for 2.5 years. And then I did a Kickstarter project to build a piece of software I was wanting to build. 3 days before the funding goal, and I wasn't going to make it, so I wasn't going to get the money. This guy emails me, and he's like, "Hey, I like your project. I'm in Pueblo. I run a software company." I was just like, "What? What?" Because there's no software companies where I live. Like, that doesn't exist. And met with him at a Starbucks, interviewed him, and shortly after got a job. And that was my career for 10 years and really transformed that company. I brought a lot to the table, actually, and learned how to manage teams and all that. But yeah, it's all self-taught. But the amount of time that I've spent on my own education in software engineering is pretty extensive. It's, I just didn't have college courses to guide me. And where I lack, obviously I didn't take a computer science degree program. So, I didn't take a bunch of math classes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, self-taught. Anybody can do it. Like anything, I think what I'm learning in life is they teach people, hey, the traditional way that you're going to succeed in life. Get a good, get out of high school, get a job, go to school, get a better job. And that's what they teach people. But they don't actually teach people how money works, how the economy truly works. They don't teach people about investing. They teach you to just kind of be a labor force slave. And we need that. Like, we have to have that. But I definitely did not take that traditional path at all into learning all this. And then just as part of my career, that really expedited what I learned, because then being exposed to building actual software for actual people and the problems that come with that too. And then managing, teams, just kind of kicked off from there. So yeah, I've been doing this a long time now. I'm seasoned in it. Obviously I don't know everything, because that's impossible. And there's things I wish I could do better, but I'm kind of at the top of the food chain in my career. I could go higher, but I don't want to, because then I would be traveling a lot. But yeah, you can do it. Anybody can do it. But I've spent my whole life doing this. That's the thing. I've spent my entire life doing it. Right. So when people ask me, what do you do? It's like, well, all I've ever done is literally software engineering. So that's partly why I'm so good at it. I love it. Like, it's been my hobby and my career. So it's pretty great. And then gaming kind of fits in there, somewhere, maybe maybe a little bit too much gaming. Yeah. Education system does not teach us how to build wealth at all. I've learned about wealth from wealthy people that I've had the pleasure of working with or for. And that basically was our CEO that sold the company that I used to work for. He taught me a lot, to be honest. You have too many future worries in your life, find yourself desperate or something else, don't know what you can do. The first thing you can do is recognize where you're at right now and then start taking steps to go from where you are now to where you want to get to. And you need to know where you want to get to. Okay. So for me, what that looked like was um, since I was like 18, I decided I wanted to be financially free. And what that means for me is I don't want to have to be employed. Okay. I've not achieved that goal, but I'm on my way there. That's been my goal my whole life. I just didn't learn enough and know enough about wealth to be smart about that. I also didn't pursue the knowledge I needed to do that either. So that's something I wish I learned earlier on and took it a little bit more seriously. But there's things you can do, like this app I'm building, for example. I mean, last year we were paying like simple stuff. We were paying $160, $170 a month for Verizon wireless phone service. We switched to T-Mint or Mint Mobile, $30 a month, saved us like $1,000+ a year. Little things like that, and you just keep doing those things over and over. Small incremental improvements in your life, and you just keep doing it, and you never stop. Be financially responsible. Always do what's right. Like I am really, really big on always doing what's right, no matter how hard it is. My father and my grandfather, I think, really engraved that in me. Not on purpose, I don't think, but just growing up and being influenced by them always doing the right thing to me is really important. And also just because it's part of who I am. But I think that's a characteristic that's helped me in life. But yeah, just, and go learn. You got to learn. Like you got to branch out. Like this last 2 years, I've really been learning a lot about investing and money and finance. Yeah, and the more you learn, the more your eyes get opened. But there was one thing my grandpa used to say to me growing up, though, that I think really resonated, which was, and I actually have a shirt that says it, keep moving forward. He used to say something like, you go work at McDonald's and life sucks, but you can always look for something else and find it and then go to that thing. And then when you're doing that thing, you can always start that next chapter. And the point was that no matter where you're at in life, you can recognize where you're at and take steps to go from where you're at to that next place that you want to go. And it's hard, it's very hard, but you can do it. You just got to put the time to it. And part of that means don't play games all day. Don't spend all your money. You don't have to not, like, one thing I struggle with is like, I'm a minimalist, but at the same time, I like my luxuries. Warpath is a luxury. I've really had fun with Warpath these last couple of years. I've spent a lot of money on Warpath within my means. Had I not done that though, and I listened to my own damn advice, I would probably be 5 years ahead of where I am now. If I had made some different decisions in my life, like even with the house that we've got, and I wouldn't take any of it back at all. Actually, the cars, I bought them. I don't know. It was like a week after I got married to my wife. I went out and bought a $49,000 Mustang GT Premium. I needed a new vehicle because my truck was like, okay, my 2000 Ford Ranger with 200,000 miles is not, actually it's got 250,000 miles now, still works and drive it all the time, but, not going to last forever. But I didn't need to buy, a $50,000, Mustang GT Premium, although I love it and we barely drive it, but you just really got to think about the decisions you make in life and where do you want to be, and you got to be willing to make those sacrifices, and you got to be willing to put in the time as well. And I'll tell everybody, this would be a maybe a great way to wrap up this live stream. Actually, is you can always make more money, although it's hard, but you can never get time back. And when you let too much time pass, it makes it even harder to make more money. So think about that and don't let time slip by to the point where you don't take the steps you need to secure your future. And yeah, you don't have money to spend on it because you're 17. So hopefully all that helps you then. You know, if I wish I had heard a lot of this stuff when I was 17. The younger you do all this, well, let me put it this way. If I had done what I know now when I was 17, I would have been retired 10 years ago at like 25. Okay. So the world is your oyster. It really is. You think the biggest issue with not budgeting is most times you find yourself saying it's only $5 more, but the habit accumulates. Yeah, and some people don't budget at all. My wife actually told me today, she's like, well, what a lot of people do is like their income and their expenses is the extent of their budget. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But that's a shitty way to manage your money and your life. Like, that's not good enough, you know? And the statistic is like, I think it was like 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck because they spend every dime they have. And there's people who are in debt up to their knees, but they look like they're living a luxurious lifestyle, right? I'm simple. I don't care. Like, I wear normal clothes. I have some nice jeans. I'm wearing a Pikachu t-shirt, you know, like I don't wear, you know, nice stuff. I've got a pair of work boots that I wear every day just because my ankles fold under me all the time. You know, and I have a nice home and stuff, but like, you know, I'm not, you know, I have my Mustang that'll last me a long time, but like I've literally got like a 2000 Ford Ranger with 250,000 miles, and I have had that car since high school. I bought it from an ex-girlfriend, and I still drive it. I drive that more than anything. Like, you know, so but other people, you know, they've got to have that $800 a month car payment for that car they can't afford, or they have to have that huge ass mortgage on their house because it's their dream home. You know, when I bought my first home, I bought it because it was the right price at the right time in the right location, and it was the right house for me. I didn't go out and try and, you know, and the mortgage was the right dollar amount for me at the time, you know. So anyway, yeah, it's crazy that people don't mind their money. They don't mind themselves. That's something that Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, talks about all the time on his podcast. Is actually he did it. It wasn't him. It was he did an interview with somebody else, and what she talked about was being people aren't mindful enough of just anything, right? And so yeah, just you know, expose yourself to new information. Like, one area I lack in my life is I don't read a lot of books. I do consume a ton of podcasts and audio and video. I don't think it necessarily has anything. I'm trying to be better about reading, but I think the one thing that people can definitely do is keep learning, keep being exposed to new information, learn finances, learn how money works, learn about investing. You know, don't overspend. Don't get yourself into debt. Don't go into debt because it sounds, you know, something sounds great. Just live a reasonable life. Do what's right. Work hard. You know, but also do what you love. that as cliche as that sounds, that's important too. Like I love what I do. You have to love what you do. Otherwise you'd just be miserable all the time. So anyways, guys, we have been live streaming for 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and kill that there. I apologize that we didn't have anything to do for Warpath, but it definitely was interesting that this was successful, just writing some code and blabbermouthing with everybody. But yeah, in a couple days, we'll have Cairo, and we'll get back at the shooting of virtual pixels and blowing things up, which will be really cool and exciting. So anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody. Definitely, if you have any feedback or ideas, or if you think this is something cool, you know, the financial app, hit me up on Discord. You can drop comments on the YouTube channel, of course. If you want more of this in the future, let me know, because we can definitely mix things up. Maybe it doesn't have to be all about gaming per se. Maybe this channel can transform into something different. But I appreciate everybody that's come to hang out, and hopefully any of the piss poor advice I've given is helpful to some of you in your lives. And as always, guys, like, subscribe, come next time. You guys are watching DX7 Gaming. Have a great rest of your weekend.